been another month of me my listening being like all over the place. A lot of the same stuff as last month, honestly. But it just kind of just flows over sometimes, and I'm happy that it's finally like fall is finally showing itself. I just like this summer. The summer's just always shit, and it's just so hot and unbelievable, and I'm just happy that it's finally pretty much ended. But yeah, I guess I'll just start by saying that I've still been listening to Billy Woods quite a lot. Probably definitely the person I've listened to the most this whole month. Just like has taken up so much of my time listening. I've just been really wanting to listen to his stuff. Um, and that really started like the end of last month, kind of. And I've been listening to here of late. I've been listening to Terror Management, his 2019 album, quite a lot. One of his 2019 albums. And I've also been listening to his other 2019 album, Hiding Places, that he did with Kenny Siegel. And I've really just been listening to like most of his discography, to be honest with you. But those two and Brass, the collaboration album he did with Moor Mother back in 2020. I've been listening to that quite a lot still as well. Those stick out the most to me. I've been listening to the newest album that came out last year as well, Maps, that he did with Kenny Siegel as well, and just here and there. But yeah, I've just been listening to a lot of his stuff, and I'm actually gave in and bought 2 tickets to go see him in DC in December. He's doing the Hiding Places kind of 5-year anniversary tour, and it'll be really cool to see him. And it's kind of a pretty smaller venue there, so I'm excited to go see that. And it should be a good time. It'll be cool to see him. I've been really interested in him for quite a few years, but I've never really like been this really into him. So that was like a perfect opportunity to finally like go see him, and I just it's something fun and exciting to do. And but I've also been listening to Armand Hammer. It kind of goes along with Billy Woods, especially these 2 albums here. I don't know why the names are slipping me right now. I should have written them down, but I'm not really good with a lot of the album names sometimes, because I just like kind of just like I associate the album with like the actual cover, and I just kind of look at the cover art and don't really look at the title that much. Sometimes I remember, obviously, with the Billy Woods ones, I just listening to them so much, but these are kind of slipping my head. For some reason, I can picture the album art in my head, but I can't think of the names. But I see a Lucid, the one half of Armand Hammer, is actually releasing a solo album this upcoming October, and I'm very excited about that. I've liked the preview, or the singles that he's released so far, and it seems like it's going to be something right up my alley and something I really like. So I'm excited for that to release, and that's probably going to be a big thing next month that I'm going to be listening to. And I mentioned Moor Mother a minute ago. I've been listening to her new album and some of her older stuff as well, and I've been really liking her stuff, specifically her first like 2 albums, and then her latest release, The Great Bailout. I just have been finding myself going back to her a lot. She's really intriguing to me, and I really like her just vocal style and delivery, and I just like her subject matter. It's very deep and dark, and I just really have been enjoying listening to her, and she's just like a interesting person to me. So it's been good kind of like getting into her. I've known of her for a few years, but I'd never really like gotten too into her, and now it's really like clicking with me, and I've been enjoying that. I've also been listening to JPEGMAFIA's new album quite a lot, and just like I just find myself going back to other things here and there as well with him, just like the veteran cornballs, and the 2 EPs and LP, all that era was just like my favorite. I just really love going back to that. Every time I listen to the new album, I like it more and more, I feel like, and I guess I kind of have to be in the mood for it to an extent. But I saw him live back on the 10th of September. I caught him in Norfolk, Virginia, and that was a good time. I just enjoyed like the whole trip down to there, and just the show was good, and it was always good to see him live. I got a pretty good view of him. I was like up on like a little balcony thing, and I could see the stage. He's like right there, so that was pretty neat. It was cool to see him up close and stuff. Doesn't have like his insane energy like he used to, but it's understandable. He just like tours and works nonstop, so it makes sense. But yeah, moving on from there, try to stay on like the same kind of area here. I mean, this isn't the same area; it's more like electronic stuff. But I listened to Porter Robinson's new album. I think I mentioned that last time, Smile. I haven't listened to it like the past like week or two, but earlier in the month I definitely was listening to it a lot, and I've really been liking that album. It's definitely going to be up there on my list this year. I feel like it's just a cool, just kind of like indie-tronica, and just some like pop and other influence. I mean, it's really definitely got a lot of influence from the Postal Service. So I've been really liking this album. It's been fun to listen to, and yeah, I'm gonna keep listening to it into the future, I'm sure. I also want to mention Molchat Delma released their new album called Balaya Pelosa. I wasn't expecting to really like this album that much after like hearing some of the singles from it, but I've actually been really liking it. I've been coming back to it quite often. It's really good, kind of. They're like classic like synth pop, new wave kind of feel that they've been doing for quite a while. And nothing really matches their first album for me though. I really like the first album, just like the lo-fi production, and just like sounds like something from right out of like the French electronic scene from the 80s. But this album is still really fun. I've been listening to it a lot. And also want to mention the new Floating Points album called Cascade. Just kind of like an ambient techno album, and I've really been digging this. I've been coming back to this quite often too, and I'm going to see myself probably still coming back to that quite often into the future. I was kind of anticipating this album a little bit, as I had heard about it like a few months ago, saw that it was going to release, and it's really been living up to it. I really like the sounds and really good production, and I just love music like that, so it makes sense. But I also want to mention the artist called Dancing Plague. They released a new album this year, but I haven't been listening to the new album as much. Not something I really been that excited about, I guess. I feel like I'm going to start going back to it again, but I don't know for sure. But I've really been listening to their 2019 album called Too Still, and I've just been really liking this. Just like I think I like posted on my Instagram like this, like some like the biggest like like fire I've heard in a long time. Like this shit just goes hard. That's what I was like. What I was thinking in my head. I was like, man, this is like really fucking good and really like getting me going. Really great discovery, I guess. But it's just like a great, just kind of like heavy synthy, like goth kind of feel to it. I don't know exactly how to explain it. I guess like some industrial feels to it to an extent. But it's really like dancey, and just like I love the vocals in it. Reminds me of a local artist here called Parasite Sentence, and it's just really solid stuff, and it's just fun to listen to. But getting more into like the metal end of things, well, actually, since I was just talking about like electronic stuff, I wanted to mention this other group that I discovered this month too, just recently. It's called The End of Electronics, and I found them kind of like through Molchat Doma and just being like recommended from listening to their music. And I think this album came out in like 2016. It's their self-titled album, and it's just really just great, kind of like synthy, just kind of around that same kind of era, like new wave, cold wave, synth pop stuff. I just really have been enjoying that. Been fun to going back to that. And then other kind of gothy stuff I want to mention here is Love is Colder Than Death. I've been listening to with their album Mental Traveler. Very awesome, like neoclassical dark wave, but then it, like the first like few tracks are like neoclassical dark wave. Then it kind of gets more into like kind of like industrial and like more dancey stuff towards the end, which is kind of interesting. But it's a really solid all around album. And been listening to that here and there quite often in the past like few weeks or so. Um, and I guess I'll just kind of go ahead and mention The Smiths. I've still been listening to The Smiths quite a lot, just in the car and stuff, because it's just that time of year. I just love listening to them in the car if I'm going somewhere. So listening to them, especially just all of their albums, really, all 4 of their studio albums. And but now I want to get more into like the metal side of things. I've been listening to Nails quite a lot. Nails released a new album. Haven't been listening to the new album quite as much. I've been liking it. It just like doesn't match up to their older stuff to me as much. But I have been liking the new album quite a bit. But I've really been listening to their first 2 albums, which is Unsilent Death, one of my favorite albums of all time. Just like that album just gets me so hype, and it's just like it's just so sick. I just really fucking love that album. I just can't get over how much I love that album. It just gets me so hyped, and it's just like, I don't know. It's just, if you're looking for some like heavy shit because you're pissed off or something, just you have to listen to this. It's just perfect for that. You let all that energy out in the 11 minutes that it's playing. But I've also been listening to the second album. It's called Abandon All Life. This one that's kind of like grown on me over the years. But I've just really been liking it. It's just super, just insanely heavy and brutal sounding, and I love the cover art. And I've just been going back to this one quite a lot as well. But mostly I've been listening to their whole discography, honestly, but definitely focusing a lot on the first 2 albums. And from there, I've been listening to Dying Fetus a little bit. I've been going back to them a lot for some reason, especially their second album, Killing on Adrenaline. That was just like they kind of just like were like very influential for like the modern kind of like hardcore scene, and just like brutal death metal and stuff. And I remember getting into them back when I was getting into like more heavy metal, like more extreme metal, I guess. And it just kind of like reminds me of that time. It was kind of like around the holiday time, so it kind of like gives me like a comfort for some reason. But I mean, a lot of metal music gives me comfort anyways. I just like, just something I've been around a lot in my life, and just makes me feel good, I guess. And that's why it's always a genre I've gone back to, and it's been so much, like probably one of the most prominent genres of my entire life. But yeah, I've been going back to them a lot. Their name is just wild. I've always loved their name, and the sound is just fun. I think I don't like it as much as I used to, as I've just like heard heavier shit like since then. So it's like not just like, oh, like the All Factor anymore. But it's still really fun to listen to. And I listened to another artist I just came across as well. It's a new EP that they released. It's called by an artist called Father Befouled. And their new EP name is Immaculate Pain, and it's like it's like 20 minutes long EP. It's just like really solid, just like death metal, just like hits, man. I don't know, it's just like the sound just hit. I've just been going back to it so much, like just like the type of death metal that I like, and it's just been sick to listen to. I really like the album cover, and it's just really solid. I've been listening to that quite a lot, along with this other album, which is definitely kind of a different feel, by the band called Ancients. I just came across this band recently as well. They released a new album called Beyond the Reach of the Sun, and honestly, this isn't something I usually really like that much, like kind of like more like towards like the heavy metal kind of things, like that kind of feel to it. I don't know, I don't know if I'd really explain it like that, but I mean, there's some like death metal elements in it as well, but honestly, it reminds me a bit of the band Ghost, and I really like Ghost, especially their first few albums. But the vocals are kind of similar to that, and but these also have like mixed in like um like some death metal vocals here and there, and I don't know, I just really, it's just kind of like another like kind of like comforting album to me. I just really like the sounds on it. The riffs are really good. Just kind of a good mix of just like a lot of different metal genres, and I've really just been enjoying it, and coming back to that one quite a lot. And I don't know, I've been listening to that one with the Profound EP a lot, like back to back for some reason. They don't really, I mean, they somewhat go together, but not, I don't know, it's just just what I've been doing for some reason. So I got into them around the same time. But um, I think that's pretty much it. I wanted to mention like one more little thing. So I've been going back to Breaking Benjamin and like Disturbed and like System of a Down stuff here recently as well. I just really, just the comfort thing. I've really just been looking for like comfort, and I just have times in music where I'd want that for some reason. And I mean, I guess a lot of the time music, and it's like kind of one of the big reasons I like music so much to begin with, but just the nostalgia factor, and just like, so this stuff just still just goes hard to me. I just really like the sound of it, and I love singing along to it. It just makes me happy. So that's just why I keep going back and listening to it. And that's just been in like the past week. I've really been doing that. I mean, Breaking Benjamin definitely like over the like here and there over the past month, but just been wanting to listen to Disturbed and like System of a Down again. It's just been fun, and yeah, I'm probably gonna keep doing that going into the future. Just, I always find myself coming back to them, especially in the past year or so. Um, but yeah, that's mostly what I've been listening to this month, and anticipating some albums coming out and just some other things, and excited to see if I'm still listening to Billy Woods heavily next month when it comes to the update time. And yeah, that's all I really have to say in this video. So as always, let me know what you guys have been listening to in the comments below, and end out the video how I always do. Please support my friends on the side here if you can, and I will see you guys next time.